Gordon from Ionic Systems. I just wanted to take this opportunity to run through some of the plumbing hardware that we use on our equipment, and this will help people in relation to doing modifications and repairs. So the particular brand of equipment, as you can see on the table here, is called John Guest. So in the plumbing industry, we can often refer to this type of hardware as plug-and-play. So it's designed to be assembled and quickly be disassembled. So starting at the hose has an outside diameter of 12mm. Ionic have some very nice colours to simulate different systems within different subsystems within their system. So often the red is for thermopure hot water out, the blue within window cleaning industry and pure water is a symbol of pure water. The grey hose is used with wastewater from RO system, and the black hose is just a generic colour hose, and you'll probably see this more often throughout an older system or a majority of the rest of the plumbing within a van mount system or a portable system. So 12mm external diameter. It's designed as plug and play, as I said. So looking at the fittings here on the table, we'll just run through the various fittings. So we have T-piece fittings here. These are standard connections. Bulkhead fittings here, which you can put through a firewall or through the floor. Standard fittings which you can terminate into a tank. Y pieces, right angle joiners, and stem elbows. They also do one-way check valves, which can be put into a system as well to only allow flow one direction. Reducers, we call these have a particular part number within Ionic systems. All these particular parts can be found in our product guide. So our current product guide, 2017, and in the back of the product guide we have a list of all the parts available, and we have John Guest parts as well. They can also be found on the website under parts and accessories, and you're able to order those from there. So these are only a sample of what is available and probably some of the most common type fittings, but I'd just like to give you an idea of how you release the fitting. So it's as simple as plug and play. So it's a push and install. So that's ready now to take pressure. If you wanted to disassemble that fitting, it's as simple as there's a circlip. The circlip is designed to push back into the fitting. So as we push that circlip back into the fitting, we're able to disengage the hose. So that circlip and ring is found on all the John Guest fittings. So once again, just to run that through, plug and play, push, fit, you'll feel it's seated. If it's not seated, there's an O-ring within that, the unit will leak. So you're able to push it, reseat it. If you needed to disassemble it, pull the hose from the fitting, which will expose that circlip, push the circlip back into the fitting, and it's a disconnect. Ionic have a dedicated tool if you're not able to do it with your fingers. It's a dedicated tool that will go around the pipe. As you push that dedicated keyring back into the fitting and pull, you're able to separate the hose from the particular type of fitting. So T-piece joiner, Y-piece joiner, right angle joiner, stem elbows. Stem elbows are designed to go in and terminate into fittings and caps. So very, very similar principle, whether it's stainless steel cap or plastic cap. To separate the cap, we need to expose the circlip. If you push down on the circlip, you're able to separate the John Guest fitting. So that's a brief overview of the fittings. To terminate, to connect to a hose reel, these JG HLAs as a part number within Ionic systems, you're able to terminate into any particular fitting that you like. Separate that again, and away we go. The van mounted ports that we have that are available too have John Guest on the back and terminated with stainless steel fittings on the front. So this is a standard fit to a van mount system that we install. Shut-off valves as well, similar principle, plug and play, ready to take pressure. We can now separate that and away we go. The reducer is quite handy. If you had a particular requirement, the reducer will go into a standard fitting, and then we can reduce that from a 12mm piece of John Guest hose down to a 5x8 PU hose. So very, very similar principle, and away we go. Just wanted to talk to you also about the cartridges. So in the end of all the filter housings, whether stainless or plastic, we have a cartridge assembly. So the cartridge assembly is made up of three distinct parts. We have an O-ring, a outer and an inner. So if at some particular circumstance you over wear and tear over many years, you develop a leak and you have a wear in the O-ring, or if somebody pulls a hose and it manages to dislodge the cartridge from the housing, I just wanted to run you through the reset procedure for that. So three parts. First of all, the O-ring goes into the bottom of the boss. These two parts engage each other with teeth. So we can initially set the outer casement within the boss. It actually has teeth which grabs, whether it's plastic or stainless, into the boss. So it's as simple as push that outer casing into the boss, and a final piece, and we engage. So that cartridge now is complete and reinstalled into the housing assembly, whether it's a cap or a filter housing. So that's ready to use. So I hope this presentation has been useful and given a bit of guidance. If you're playing around with any of these hoses, a good pair of hose cutters is often a great necessity. If you, over time, and you're disengaging and re-engaging hoses, you might develop scratches within the hose assembly. If you've got enough lead in the hose assembly, you can often trim that back to have a nice smooth surface again, because the outer casing of that hose assembly is sealed there with the O-ring, so that'll prevent your leak. So if you've got a scratch there, that you can set up a possible leak. But the fittings themselves are absolutely fantastic. Hot water, cold water, all environments around the world, and the 32 countries and the 100 destinations that Ionic send these van mount and portable systems to, absolutely fantastic. So I hope this gives you a bit of an overview in relation to removing and disengaging fittings and reinsertion of cartridges into housings and end caps. Just to recap, Gordon from Ionic Systems, you can get a breakdown of all the parts in the back of the catalogue, which is available online, so you can download that online. Any questions, come through the internet to our web address. We can answer any of those questions. We can give you prices. In Australia, we've got prices available on our website. So happy to talk, and if you've a DIY and you're building your own system, we can supply you with bits and pieces to suit that as well. But we can keep on talking, and appreciate you watching, and look forward to chatting again. Appreciate it. Cheers.